Hey, so right now there's Hurricane Florence happening in the Carolinas on the East Coast. Prior to the actual hurricane, for several days, there's a lot of warnings in the news talking about, hey, there's a pending hurricane coming, so get ready. And you know, organizations questioning the government's preparation, so on and so forth, for political reasons or just because they care. Um, One of the things that floors me about this is you never see a mass exodus whenever there's a big storm coming. And I think that's like the number one thing that should happen. People should get out of the way of a storm and eliminate the risk to themselves. What's more important, your life or your house? Um, and with that said, I understand that some people don't have the resources to just get up and move, but there's a lot of people that do have the resources and they still stay and they become victims, or they stay and then they require some kind of first responder help at some point and leads to the first responders being put at risk to help someone that could otherwise be somewhere else in another state, out of the danger zone, with a family and friend. So it kind of floors me that there's just not a mass exodus. And I know with this storm there was I think one of the governors made a mandatory evacuation of certain counties, but there were still people that stayed. Um, so number one, that's just crazy to me that people stay in the area. So this brings me to, if you stay in the area, what are you doing? Are you just sitting in your living room watching news, just hoping the storm jumps up and over your house and doesn't affect you? Or are you actually doing something about it? So with a hurricane, a lot of flooding happens. Water stays for a while. It's hard to get resources such as water and food. If you don't already have it, it's hard for people to get to you. There's no way we have enough first responders to go to every house to see if someone's in there all at the same time. It takes time for that response. Um, but I wonder, and this is what I do myself when something's pending around in the area that I live. I think about the storm and I think about the risks and what could possibly happen. If there's a fire, a mass forest fire, I worry about getting my family out, protecting my stuff, but I worry about getting burned, obviously. That's quite simple with a fire. With a hurricane, you got to worry about flooding. Like I said before, you got to worry about not getting that support. So what are you doing? Um, uh, I worry that people are just, like I said, sitting in the living room, not doing anything, watching TV, hoping it goes over there. But what they should be doing is preparing to protect themselves. First off, get out of the area if you can do that. Take your family, take your supplies with you, and just get out of the area. Go on a little vacation. I think everybody should always have a standing vacation plan. I'm not talking about going on a cruise. I'm talking about just to get out of town, to go somewhere and stay with family and friends. And it should always be a ready plan. Um, Again, whether it's a storm or something, these people who think the apocalypse is coming or the government's going to take over or whatever in the area and declare martial law. There should always be some kind of vacation plan to get out of the area, especially if there's a potential for a civil disturbance because somebody's rioting or somebody disagreed with something. But you got to prepare. So with a hurricane, you got flooding. So what should I do? Maybe I should have some life jackets around. Maybe I should have some helmets around, just in case I get washed away or my family gets washed away. I decided to stay, so I should do something about it. Think about it. How much does a life jacket cost? $10, $15 at one of those box stores. Or you could go get some really, really good equipment to help protect yourself and keep yourself safe, as well as your family. More important for me is my family. So in my house, actually, I have like 5 life jackets, more than enough for each of us. Just in case. Why? It was nothing. And I like to spend my money on important things instead of, going to sporting events and things like that. Things that could save or protect my family. So, one of the big risks whenever you stay after a big storm is dehydration. You can only live for 3 days without water. So if you know there's a storm coming, are you hydrating just to make sure if you're going to stay there? Are you stockpiling water? Or are you waiting till the last minute to stockpile water? And you know what? Everybody's doing it at the same time, so not everybody's going to get stuff. So I think the best time to prepare is when nothing's going on. Think about what can happen in your area. Get out and do some preparation. Go to the store, get a couple cases of water. It's like $3 or $4 for a case of water. That's nothing. But in a bad situation after a storm or some kind of event, water is like the most valuable thing. It's more important than gold. You can't drink gold. You can't eat gold, but you can drink water, and it's almost costs nothing. So people should just have that stuff laying around the house. I have access. I have water everywhere. Now it's not like I have like a store in my garage or something like that with rows and rows of shelves stockpiled with water and food. I just have cases of water in my deep freeze. I have cases of water in the bottom of it. What that also does, if the power ever goes out, guess what? It keeps my stuff fresh, or it keeps it frozen for a little bit longer, and I don't have to throw away a bunch of food in a storm when the power goes out. I have water in my refrigerator. I have water in the back of my truck, but it's all out of the way. It's not like like those doomsday preppers that have all kinds of supplies everywhere. But I know that water is the number one thing that anybody needs for any period of time. It's just water, and without water, after 3 days, you start to not work. And it may take well over 3 days for help to get to you, especially with the government having to look at the whole picture and such a large population and stuff. So I would just encourage people, whenever you see a storm coming, think about what are the threats coming with a storm. Whether it's a hurricane, a tornado, flooding by itself, a monsoon, a tsunami, people leaving a town because civil unrest or whatever. What do you need? Supplies. I mean, I'm primarily talking about just a storm, the hurricane in the Carolinas right now. Hurricane Florence. But the big thing is get out of the way of the threat, whether it's a natural disaster or some man-made disaster or pending. If there's a warning, get out of the way of it. Find somewhere to get out of the way of it. And second, if you can't get out of the way, then prepare for it. Don't expect the government to help you, or don't expect everything to be okay, unless you just don't care. But if you're like me and you have a wife and a couple children you got to take care of, then prepare for it. And you can't go wrong. All right. If you can't do everything, do something. It's better than nothing. Good luck. Hope everybody's safe. It looks like everything's going well with Florence, meaning there's a ridiculous amount of support. I'm just amazed. Even like the Department of Defense is mobilized, and there's rules what the federal military, the military outside the National Guard can do in a situation such as this. But it's amazing, and I'm excited. To see the outcome, to see what we've learned over the last couple of years with storms, and see how people have prepared and protected themselves. So good luck. Think about your storms. Think about the threats to your family, and take care of yourself and your family.